Week 1 is in the books, and we had quite a big injury Friday night. Jordan Love. At first, I thought he was done for the year when the way he kind of his knee, the way it kind of contorted, and it looked like it popped, like the meniscus or something like popped.
Yes.
I thought he was done. I've seen that injury so many times, and what's funny about that is I text one of my friends from college, Harrison. I text him maybe like 20 minutes before that. I'm like, Love really reminds me of a young Carson Palmer. Come on. Like
against the Pennsylvania team too.
Oh, that's frustrating. Like, because I mean, granted, Green Bay lost, and that sucks for me, right? But unfortunately, I think it's going to negatively impact the rest of their season because, he missed the entire he missed having the season-ending ACL. I get that; that's important. But like, if he misses 5 weeks, where does Green Bay fit?
Do you not like Malik Willis?
Okay. Another thing about that. So Malik Willis comes in. He is the backup quarterback for the Packers, newly acquired from I guess he was cut by the Titans because he sucked. And they pick him up.
They traded for him.
Yeah. Maybe a late pick. Yeah.
Yeah. Like a conditional pick.
I can't remember what they did. It was inconsequential.
Yeah.
So what's the one thing you can't do on a Hail Mary?
You cannot take a sack.
That's literally the only play. You could throw a pick six for all I care.
Yeah.
But you could get strip sacked you throw it backwards. As long as you are trying to get the ball to the end zone.
You got to give your guys a chance.
You got to at least pull your arm back and try and throw it. And he didn't do it. And that to me is a horrible sign for what's to come for that team. So like I said, the question is, if he misses 3 weeks and this team starts 0-4, can they recover from that? Historically, teams that start 0-4, and I'm not confident they win any games with Malik Willis. I think the Packers season might be in jeopardy already, which is crazy to think about after what we just said about them last week. Or I think you have them in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I did have them. Yep. I think Matt LaFleur is a good enough coach.
Yep.
I think there's enough talent there. I don't know if it's going to look like it did when Rodgers went down in 2013, where they were. I think this is a much better team than that 2013 team was.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that team was 6-2 with Rodgers when he got hurt.
Yeah. So
it's hard to say.
Or go ahead.
It's hard to say really how it's going to all play out because like I said, I think there's enough there that they can win. But if they get into a situation like where they're not running, they have to start throwing the ball. If they can't control the game with their run game and playing good defense, then they're going to be stuck. And I think this week they might have a good chance, but I think they play the Rams soon. That's not a team you're going to want to play with Malik Willis.
Their next, so let's assume Love misses 3 games. So, because I think that would probably be a month-long injury at that point.
Yeah, 3 to 6 is what I heard.
Yeah. So I'm going to put him back after 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because essentially the Philly game is a 4.
And I think they're going to want him back.
So let's say he misses 3 games. Colts at home. And that's going to, I think Colts at home, at Titans, home against the Vikings. I think the Vikings game is actually going to be the toughest of the 3 because I think the Vikings can actually put up some points.
And the Titans know Malik Willis too, and they showed that they have a very good defensive line.
I think the key to this whole thing for Green Bay is you got to come out of the stretch of the first 3 matchups. You got to come out 1-3. I think that's the key to the season is you got to get 1. You do not want to go 0-4 going into the Rams game.
Yeah.
And the Rams game's on the road. And I think that, to me, that's going to be the sign of the season. And that'll also, in a way, it's going to kind of give some closure. Like, how good is this Packers team actually built?
Mm-hmm. How well has Brian Gutekunst done this?
Yeah, because if they steal a win or 2, if they steal 2 wins, everything's back in play, right?
Yep.
If they get one win, at least I think they can play survivor ball and still maybe trying to get to 9 wins, which is what
Mhm.
it takes probably to win a wild card, right? I think that it's going to come down to you got to establish a run with Jacobs. You got to play lights out defenses, which is something they did not do against the Eagles.
Yeah.
And then, of course, obviously the severity of the knee injury, which I'm not one to really speculate on the severity of an injury that I don't know about. But I think the way I look at it is the first 4 games of the season, the Packers need to come out of this 1-3 to have any sort of chance at getting to the playoffs. And I think that I would base that just off of basic history and knowledge of the NFL. Is teams that start 0-4 rarely get to the postseason because, I mean, if you think about it, you're basically asking your team the rest of the season with a guy that's probably not fully recovered from an MCL injury to go 9-5.
Yeah.
The rest of the way. And that's a lot to ask. So I think this is the season that over the next 3 weeks, the Packers have to come away with at least 1 win in September. But if they do, I feel a lot better about their chances because I think, number one, they would tell us that they're a quality team all around. And then number 2, like it's obviously just a wins and loss game at that point. Any other thoughts on the Packers before we move on to topic 2?
Not any.
So next topic, defense around the league. I'll let you kind of cover, or offense around the league. In general was garbage.
Very bad.
And you have some of the DVOA statistics that you looked up.
And some of the EPA per play statistics. I wish I had. I wish I could pull this up on our screen, but I do have it on my phone.
Is this just read the statistics out loud because we have a podcast audience anyway. But I think
exactly
overall offense is way down, and you're going to suggest that it's actually something we shouldn't be that surprised about because this is really like a 3-year trend at this point.
Yeah. So the last 2020 was a year that a lot of people expected there's not going to be a lot of defense being played. Of course, that was the COVID year.
Yep.
Teams they didn't have any really off-season program.
Mm-hmm.
Training camp was very weird. There was, nobody wants to think back on that, but it lent into the season where everybody was right. It was a very offensive year in 2020. And now everybody says, yeah, it's only week 1. Yes, we know that. In week 1, this is over a 10-year period. Offensive EPA actually, EPA for offense. The passing EPA was over 0.05. Okay, so that was the highest it's been league-wide week 1 over the last 10 years. Over the last 2 years, it's been dipping. This is the first year where rushing EPA was not just higher than average pass EPA, it was much higher.
Yep. And
average pass EPA.
I've been making this case for a long time. This is, I think, a result of team building. Mm-hmm. So what have we been hearing the last 15 years of the NFL? Like when you listen to NFL rhetoric,
it's a passing league.
It's a passing league. Got to pay the quarterback $200 million. They're becoming $300 million quarterbacks. What's crazy is I still remember when it was a huge deal that McNabb got a $100 million deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's nothing now. But really towards the end of the 2000s and then onward, really the Brady Manning era kind of set this off.
Yeah.
It was a passing league and defenses obviously adjusted. So what we started seeing, too high looks, we saw
a lot of it came from how do we stop Patrick Mahomes? And then it was, hey, if this works on Mahomes, it's going to work for a lot of other quarterbacks.
Well, and even as a Packers fan, I'd say Aaron Rodgers was people used to do that. I remember when we lost to the Giants in 2011, it was all about the blueprint, right? The Chiefs in week 15 that year, garbage team, but Romeo Crennel figured out how to slow the Packers offense, which was historically good, down. And teams started playing a lot of, base packages became nickel, right? So
Mhm.
you're playing 5 defensive backs, which base packages used to be like
Your
7
4,
guys in
3,
the front
3, 4.
7.
Yep.
4-3, 3-4, like you were not running nickel. And now it's the opposite. Like your sub package really is your base package
Yep.
in every sense of the word. We still talk 4-3-3-4 because we're so used to it. But now you're seeing, like, I think offenses, and that's why I'm so big on the Chargers, and we'll talk about them in a little bit. That's why, like, teams like that can establish the run. And I know, like, I know, like, a lot of analytics people hate that rhetoric,
Mhm.
but I think, like, the NFL defenses are and, like, college football players are trained now to stop the pass, and it's like,
Yeah,
how do you stop the run? And
exactly.
teams like Philly, teams like, Baltimore, even though they had really little to no passing game. I mean,
Yeah.
Isaiah Likely had a big game. Really was one
A lot
huge
of bad
touchdown.
luck too.
Yeah, but like if you watch that Ravens game, zero like the A dot for Lamar Jackson was like what 1 yard.
Yeah.
Like they had nothing, but they were still able to move the ball because number one, Lamar can run. Number two, like Derrick Henry's still a threat on the ground. But like the Eagles were the same way. Like Saquon Barkley's their offense.
Yeah.
Like their passing game was horrible. Like Jalen Hurts on PFF was the worst rated quarterback in the NFL last week.
Yeah.
He did not play well. He had
Yeah.
one big play to AJ Brown, and that was all AJ Brown. And I think overall we're finally seeing it where I think running the ball has become as efficient as passing the ball because we have finally seen it where I think defenses have now officially over adjusted.
Yeah. The
Stuff in the
pendulum
past.
has swung really far back.
And I think this will be a year, and that's why I'm so big on the Chargers, specifically in the AFC, because I think teams that can figure that out are going. And if you think about it, what was the position that got a lot of money in free agency that no one thought?
Running backs.
Running backs. I think like that's going to be an interesting thing. I think it's obviously defenses are ahead of the offense, but I think you made a better point just now. Rushing attacks are making a little bit of a comeback. In the mind of an analytics person. So I think that's really interesting. Topic 3, and I said this last week when we did our team previews, and then after this we'll jump into week 2. The Carolina Panthers.
The Chicago White Sox of the NFL.
I said last week, like that game I was watching, it was the number 1 game I wanted to watch because I could define a team after one game. And damn it, I was right. We can just say that team sucks. Like
they're awful.
They are awful. I have zero hope. Like the way they can't tackle, they can't stop the run, they can't stop the pass, they can't protect the passer, they can't run the ball. I don't think Bryce Young can. I think he's lost all confidence. I don't think he's even remotely the same player that I saw at Alabama. I think this team is broken. I don't see any hope. I think we're looking at a 1 to 2 win team, maybe. I think it's that bad.
It is. This is not something. I know they hired a new GM after they fired Fitterer.
Dan Morgan was terrible, by the way. He was involved with the last one.
And yes, and Dan Morgan was a part of that.
Yep.
I think that even though Dan Morgan, like he has his fingerprints on this team already, it's not a job anybody would want. And it's not a job it's not like if Dan Morgan lasts 2 years, I wouldn't want to be the next GM because this team, I think, is
no assets
for a good 4 or 5 years right now. I think it's going to be that long before they're good again. 9 win good.
This team reminds me of a team that needs so remember back in 2017 when 2017 when the Rams fired Jeff Fisher.
Yeah.
That was my one hope is that could Canales kind of have that similar type impact?
Yeah.
Where McVay came in, but but I'll give credit though, is who's the guy, who's the GM and Les Snead. Les Snead could at least draft. He had talent. He did draft Aaron Donald before.
Yeah, he had
Todd Gurley was a good player. Jared Goff was a good player.
Yeah.
So he had some talent. But the team looked hopeless. But it took a McVay to kind of invigorate them, and they hit on a bunch of late picks. Like they drafted Cooper Kupp in the 3rd round.
They're also really aggressive with the way they made trades, which a lot of us still to this day I think is not, but it worked out for them.
They make trade, they win their trades, and they find guys in the 4th, 5th round all the time.
And they get a lot of comp picks too.
Carolina's not doing that. Like that's the problem. Is like they're missing on their 1st round picks, but they're not doing anything in the 4th, 5th round, and they're not making good trades. So it's. I agree with you. That was my number one takeaway of the entire week. Like it's not that so and so's a bust. It's not. It's and I'm just saying like the Panthers look absolutely hopeless to me.
Yeah,
like
they are hopeless. Yeah,
I can't name a single thing they did well.
No, and now they lost. I'm forgetting their star defensive tackle that they just gave. Is it Derek Brown?
Yeah, he's out for the year.
Yeah, he's out for the year.
Yeah,
I mean, and he was the mainstay of their defense. They just traded Brian Burns in the offseason.
Yeah, and from a physical standpoint, they just looked overmatched. Like they just didn't. I could not. I try to find a positive in every team. Like I'm a pretty positive person, as you've probably made fun of me for. Like overall, like I watched that game, and they're like, I hate to say this about a professional football team, but they were pitiful, and that's the worst thing I could say about a professional anything. If you're pitiful, it's pathetic.
And that's why I make the comparison to the White Sox. Like the White Sox
they're pitiful.
Very close. They're pitiful. They're very close to becoming the worst baseball team of the last 125 years.
Yeah.
Like that's where this like the Cleveland Browns in 2016 had more hope. This is 2008 Lions hopelessness.
And people that want to blame it on Bryce Young, like Bryce Young might be a bust.
He's a symptom of he's not the reason. He's a symptom of the
they've ruined his career.
Yeah. Oh,
I don't
see how even if he jumps to another team, it works out for him.
He's broken. Like they've broken. Like and the things that I don't want to talk about them anymore. They piss me off. But like, and I'm not a Panther fan, but it's just bad football. Like I said, they did nothing.
Well, it's your home market, and as much as you've battled Panthers fans when you were younger. But like you still want because it's good for your television station.
Yeah,
they are good.
It's not even that. It's mostly like Panther fans around here. I think they don't care anymore.
Yeah, it's apathy. When apathy sets in.
Yeah, I was watching the games. Like we had Sunday Ticket on in the early window. Like we just flipped it. Like we had that as like our quad box. Like one of the games we had on was that Panther game. He asked to switch it off. Like he's just like, let's watch another game. Like once you hit that point,
and it's week 1.
Yeah. So anyway, let's go to week 2.
That was our settling for 3, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, we should have probably introduced it as settling. I just wanted to jump into the topics, my bad. But we are going into week 2 of the NFL season. Let me share my screen here.
Exciting.
Yes.
Thank God. I always say like on a Wednesday, just get me to Thursday. Get me to Thursday night football, please.
So first game up on the docket, we get a Thursday night game. First one of the year. That's like a short week game. And it's the Buffalo Bills against the Miami Dolphins in Miami. And I think a lot will be made. I did not think the Dolphins played all that well. And neither did the Bills. I think both of these teams were way behind in their first games. And
we kind of predicted that Bills Bills Cardinals game pretty well. Yeah. We didn't think it was going to be I guess actually we kind of flipped it. We knew both games would be fairly close, but we thought the Dolphins game was going to be the high scoring game and the Bills game was going to be the 20-17 game.
Yeah. To me, the story of this game is a lot of it's based on injuries. I think Mostert's already out of this game.
Mm-hmm.
I've been big on Achane the entire preseason, and he was outside of Tyreek Hill, their most dynamic player on offense. Like there were a couple plays he had in that game where I think there was one 3rd and 17. He converted a screen pass into a 35-yard gain.
It's unreal.
And
he's on the injury list too.
He is, yes. He has an ankle injury. So I think a lot will depend on his availability because outside of if Mostert and him miss time, I think it's going to be tough for the Dolphins to have much of a threat in the run game.
Mhm.
We'll see how Jalen Wright and Jeff Wilson do, but I don't think they're the talent that Mostert or Achane are. Tyreek Hill will obviously be able to make some plays in this game. I also think the Bills were pretty sloppy offensively, but I think it comes down to Josh Allen just kind of willing his team to win.
Yeah.
In this game, though, I'm still going to take the Dolphins. What actually stood out to me was actually the Dolphins defensively were pretty impressive.
They saved the game. Was
Yep.
it Jalen Ramsey that had the strip on ETN?
Yep. So I think they made enough plays. And to me, these teams are very similar in terms of like where I think they are amongst the league's better teams. I don't think either one of them are really Super Bowl contenders at this point, but I think they're both good teams. I think they're pretty even. I'm going to go to the Dolphins to win by, I'll give you final score. I'm going to say 27-21. I think Dolphins by like 6 or something. 6 or 7. 6 or do a touchdown.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins win too. It's one of those games the Dolphins kind of have to have. The Bills have beaten them 4 times in a row right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, this same matchup last year in Miami was for the AFC East Division title, and Buffalo they blew a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter. It's one of those games that I think Miami can't lose.
Yeah.
And of course, as we've talked about before, they seem to just love playing in September. I think they're going to force Allen into a few turnovers, and I'm going to have them. I'll have them win 28-24.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You and me, I think, are on the same page. I think this mostly comes down to me. Like, I just like them at home, but we'll say that Miami last year, they got swept against Buffalo. Buffalo came down there to win the AFC East, and they took care of business, even though
Yeah.
I think all of us were kind of confident that the Dolphins would handle it. So, but I agree with you. I think this game being played when it is, I think is the main difference here in this game. So we're both going Dolphins. We agree on that. So the next game on the docket, Saints Cowboys. Both of these teams, you could argue. I think what are they both 1 and 2 in the NFL and DVOA?
Yes, they are. So it's the DVOA Super Bowl week 2 of the year.
But to me, the Cowboys win was way more impressive than
Way
the
more
Saints.
impressive, yeah.
I think the Saints win was based more off of who they got to play, while the Cowboys, I think, like, I still believe Cleveland can be a good team. I think they still have too much talent to play as poorly as they did, but I think Dallas kicked their ass. By far, to me, the most impressive win of the entire weekend. The way they beat the Browns' ass on the road. I'm going to take Dallas here. And I think this also screams to me, this is like a Derek Carr, like, like coming down from cloud 9 kind of game. Like everything went great week 1.
Happy for you, Derek Carr, but
it's going to crash week 2. This to me feels like Dallas wins like by 3 touchdowns. Like I'm saying like 31-10 is like what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty comfortable Dallas victory. I think maybe New Orleans will hang in it for a little bit longer. Maybe they get like a late score. I'm going to go I'm going to say 28-17 Cowboys. Yeah. I think I was very impressed with Dallas. Their defense, that was one of the things I talked about last week. How are they going to look without Dan Quinn? And
Mike Zimmer's an upgrade.
Mike Zimmer is an upgrade.
Yeah.
They were. I mean, I know they played Deshaun Watson, who we talked about. What Deshaun Watson are we getting?
Yeah.
They made him look as bad as we kind of thought he might be. You know,
but the thing, what impressed me though about that performance is like, yeah, is Deshaun Watson, like, is he not the player he was 4 years ago? Absolutely, I think we can all agree with that at that point. But it's like, it's how uncomfortable they made him. Like it felt like every play, like they were playing sticky coverage, but they have a pass rush. Like their defense, to me, is I think this team right now, I would say, has the best defense in the entire league. Like,
and they also scored on special teams. That's another sign of a very good team, is that they like when their offense is because their offense was meddling a little bit. I think they're going to have a better game this week. But when you can rely, your defense can hold the team to a little amount of points. I know Cleveland actually got a few like garbage time scores, so it was a bigger score line that it actually presented in the end. But when your special teams can come through like that in the end, it really shows how deep you are as a roster. I think this will be a really easy victory for Dallas, and unfortunately, it's the Fox game of the week. So, yeah,
so Tom Brady gets 2 Cowboys games to start his career.
Weird, not surprising though.
Yeah, it's. I mean, hey, Fox's number 1 team probably is Dallas.
Yeah,
so that makes sense.
Since 1994.
So I would say Dallas. We both agree Dallas wins this game pretty comfortably. Next game, Raiders Ravens. I think a lot of people are. Ravens are 9-point favorites. That's a big number.
Massive, yeah.
I'm gonna say this. I was not impressed by the Ravens.
Nope.
I did not. I think Lamar Jackson played out of his mind to keep them in that game. I think he made the fact that they had a chance to tie the game was freaking crazy.
Do you know who looked really bad? I know he had an interception. Roquan Smith looked totally out of place.
Yeah. Well, and I think some of that is Andy Reid.
A lot of that is Andy Reid.
But and the Ravens defense, I think, held up. They're not what I'm concerned about. I've been saying this for like the last 2 years, is the Ravens don't have a vertical passing game. And really, ever since they traded Hollywood Brown, they have not they have no answer to keeping a defense honest. It's really Lamar Jackson scrambling and making a play is their big place. Like Isaiah likely had that, or it's a big catch and run by the receiver. But nothing is vertical. Nothing is down the field. What was Lamar Jackson's average depth of target? 1 or 2?
Well, that's what it was at halftime. I'd say after that,
it probably went up a little.
It probably went up a little bit, but
even the long touchdown was
screwed up the final sequence of plays.
Yeah,
that was all Lamar.
Yeah, I'm not here to say Lamar Jackson sucks. I think Lamar Jackson was freaking awesome.
He did the absolute best he could to keep them in the game. But it was still a very Lamar type game.
I think the problem is they're number one, their pass protection just sucks. So that also prohibits you from having a chance
unlike,
to have
the Ravens always have a stout offensive line, and
they didn't on Thursday, and then they've been kind of banged up, and they've gone through some transitions, and guys like Ronnie Stanley, they're getting older, and they've invested a lot in pass catchers, and they spent a 1st-round pick on Zay Flowers. I think Zay Flowers is fine, but the one thing about Flowers that I think fantasy football people don't understand is how much value does a guy that catches the ball 2 yards down the field and he jukes some guys out and you get a gain of 8, but that you need explosive plays to help your quarterback, and he's fine, but he is not if he's your number 1, that's an issue. And I think the Ravens passing game was a big story last. It didn't make the settling for 3, but I think that was a big red flag to me. Saying that though, I still think the Ravens win. I think this is going to be an ugly game, an ugly win for them though, where Ravens fans don't feel happy about it. 24-17 for me. I think the Raiders, the problem there is the quarterback play. Minshew's not great. This is a road game. The thing I'm going to watch in this game, though, is watch out for Brock Bowers. Led the team in targets last week. He was freaking outstanding, dude. I think he might be an all-pro as a rookie. I think that if there's one positive thing you want from the Raiders, it's that. They drafted a great player, I think.
Yeah, I think the Ravens do cover the spread. I think it's 26-14, but when you say 26-14, that's a lot of drives ending in field goals. I just don't. Yes,
West
The
Coast
Raiders
team
just
going
don't have
east
an
here.
offense to keep up with the Ravens, and I think that's going to be. And obviously, the Ravens still have a very good defense. So I think that's going to be kind of what it is. It's not going to be a game that you're going to really want to flip to, I don't think.
And Ravens coming off the mini bye, and then the Raiders are also coming off of a West Coast trip to LA, and them traveling east for a 1:00 game. Like historically, that always helps the home East Coast team.
Yeah.
I just think the Ravens are too sloppy offensively to cover a 9-point spread. So I'm taking it by a touchdown, but I still think the Ravens win the game. But you think the Ravens cover the spread? I just think that but really, what's the difference between like 3 points?
They're not going to feel any better either way, I don't think.
Yeah. Next game, Browns Jags.
It's a big game for whoever wins or loses this game because both of them are 0-1 right now.
The Dabo Sweeney Bowl.
The Dabo Sweeney Bowl. That's
right.
right.
Deshaun Watson against Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
But I'm with you here though. Like, I wouldn't say must win this early in the year, but you don't want to start 0-2.
Yeah.
You don't want to start 0-2 because that really, really prohibits your playoff chances. And I think the AFC is very deep this yeare.
This is a 12% week, according to like certain wherever you are. A win can boost your playoff odds by 12%, and a loss can diminish your playoff odds by 12%.
I'll say this about this game is Jacksonville shouldn't be 0-1.
No, they gave away that game.
They mismanaged that game so badly. So, like Trevor Lawrence, if you look at his just like counting stats, 162 yards, 1 touchdown, not a great game. I thought he played really well, and like they just stopped like putting the ball in his hands. Like I don't understand what the Jags were doing in the second half of that game. I thought he was in command of the offense. Like his completion percentage, you could go technically it didn't hit 60%, but like I'll say this though. I think Trevor played well. I think Deshaun Watson played like the worst quarterback in the league that's not named Daniel Jones. The Browns couldn't run the ball. Jacksonville could. I think Jacksonville, they win this game. Just don't make the mistakes. Don't turn the ball over. You win this game. I'm going to take Jacksonville at home. I'm going to take this as a sloppy win, 24-17. And this will be the week we all go, is Deshaun Watson toast? Like officially, those that are still left on the Deshaun Watson bandwagon will finally be asking that question. I think
it's only some people in Cleveland.
And
I think a lot of them are really pissed that another guy is looking very good.
I've always had that 1% outcome. Like maybe he can get back in his form, but like, damn, dude, like eventually you got to start playing well. And he has not done it in 2 years. So I don't know. I guess 4 years at this point.
I'm going to take Jacksonville also to win. I think they're going to win about 28-20. I think it'll be a little bit. Well, it's only 1 point more than you, but I think Cleveland's defense is going to start. They're going to soon enough start tiring out, having to bail out. Deshaun Watson. They're going to start clamoring for another backup quarterback there very soon. I wouldn't be surprised if Winston is starting.
If Trevor takes care of the ball, they win easily.
I was reading somewhere that with the newest thing coming out on Deshaun Watson, that Cleveland might try to use this as a way to void his contract.
Oh, the new allegation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, probably a smart move.
I would be looking into that if I were after this week.
Yeah, because at some point when if you ever ask yourself, Joe Flacco gives us a better chance to win than our $300 million quarterback, maybe you overpaid the $300 million quarterback. Just a thought. But yeah, I'm taking Jacksonville in this game, and I hate that because like what's so frustrating about this Cleveland team is like I love their roster. I like Stefanski as a coach. I like everything except Deshaun Watson. Like Oh man, like he was. Yeah, he plays with no rhythm.
Yeah.
And he like there's no timing and like you saw it with that like technically the drop touchdown was Amari Cooper's fault, but that shows you there's like no rhythm or timing between the pass catchers and the quarterback. Like and I at some point, once we're 4 years after his last good football, like I'm saying this week is like my final week. If I don't see Deshaun Watson play well, I am 100% out completely.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are already, I'm officially out if he can't get it done this weekend.
Yeah.
So this will actually, I guess, just like Bryce Young last week,
This is your
my game to watch this week.
you're watching.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about Deshaun Watson and the settling for 3 next week.
Sometimes the way you should watch the NFL early in the year is you're not looking for Super Bowl contenders. It's who can we cross off the list.
Yeah.
So the Panthers are off. Like we already
Panthers have been eliminated from the postseason.
The Panthers have not
like 3 years.
They are not winning the Super Bowl. I can guarantee you that. It's weird to say this, but like if Deshaun Watson like doesn't show any more, like if he can't get it together quickly, I'm gonna cross them off the list, even though I like their team. Like it's sad because I think they got all the talent. But quarterback's the most important position in the game, man. There's no other way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Next, any thoughts on this game before I go to the next one?
No more.
Jets Titans. Okay, can I just say something about the Titans?
Okay.
We are who they thought they were. And we let them off the hook, damn it. Like Will Levis, you are officially Matt Leinart. Like
yeah.
That game, I've never seen a team like
I did.
You have in 06.
Yeah.
But like your team, of course, wins both of these games. The Bears did nothing.
Yeah.
Offensively. Nothing. Like that game, like Caleb Williams, that would have been the story of week 1. And to me, it's not actually a story. It shouldn't be. But like the people would have been talking about how poorly he played.
Yeah. And they still only had the 5th worst offensive DVOA. That goes back to that.
Caleb Williams was awful in that game against Tennessee, but damn it, he was the best quarterback on the field because Will Levis gave this game away. Just gave it away. Like, and to me, that you had to have that game, I think, to like, if you couldn't win that Chicago game where like they really couldn't do anything offensively.
Brian Callahan in his first head game as a head coach, like you could lose a blowout, like you could be Dave Canales, lose a blowout. I mean, it's a lose-lose situation for him. Brian Callahan, you can't blow a 17-point lead in your first game as a head coach.
No. And like I think he did some things offensively, and
that's got to be a first, I'd say, in the NFL.
Yeah, but to me, that game was all about Will Levis just giving it away. Like Chicago did nothing offensively to win the game. Like they made some plays defensively, and they kept and the key thing to give Chicago credit for, we'll get to them later, but like they did keep the game within reach. So that could have happened.
Yes, yeah.
But this game to me, this is I hate doing this, and the guys at work that I work with, like they always hate when I do this. But damn it, if there's a lock of the week, this is it. Like the Jets are winning this game.
Yeah.
And this to me screams.
Did the Jets show you enough on Monday?
Huh?
Did the Jets show you enough on Monday
to win this game? Absolutely. Yeah. I only have to do that much to win this game.
Yeah.
I think I was convinced. I think Rodgers, to me, number one, he was never going to win in San Francisco. Number 2, I think that the Jets showed enough offensively to me.
Although we both picked the Jets.
We did. And we were wrong.
we thought they'd be the lead story on.
But I'm not even saying this is a Jets pick. I'm more saying this is against the Titans pick.
Yeah.
I think the Titans are freaking awful. right now, and I'm taking the Jets to win this. I think the Jets, what they did show me, they were really good in the red zone defensively. The 49ers probably could have scored 40 something points, and they didn't.
Yeah.
They were able to make it what, a 2-score game at the end?
Eight scoring drives isn't good though.
No, but I think Rodgers and the offense have a lot of room to improve, but they can move the ball. They did show that.
Yeah, they did.
They do have great skill players. I think their offensive line actually held up okay. I actually kind of like what I saw from the Jets in a losing effort. Do I think they're a Super Bowl contender? I don't think so at this point, but I think they're good enough to beat the Titans. I'm going to take the Jets by 10. Give me 27-17.
Yeah, I actually think this is going to be, well, I know I thought last week this was going to be it, but I think this is going to be kind of the week that Rodgers, we start saying, oh, hey, like, I remember that guy, because it did start off that way early on in the game. I wasn't able to watch but a few plays on Monday night. But from what I was following,
man.
Sorry?
Allen Lazard, he's awesome.
Allen Lazard, man, he's the guy. He brought him with. I think this is the game that Rodgers actually kind of gets going.
I agree.
I think I'm going to pick the Jets. I'm going to say 31-16.
Okay.
I think he's going to throw a few touchdown passes. And he's probably going to, I don't think they're going to have a lot of success running with Breece Hall, because Tennessee does have a very good defensive line. But I don't think
Breece Hall's I don't even think Breece Hall's best attribute is his rushing ability.
It's his receiving ability.
He is a dynamic pass catcher. I think people will need to see that soon.
But yeah, I think this is a game. This is a feel good game for the Jets.
Yep. I agree.
I think the Titans are still, they were very demoralized after that game on Sunday. And I think it's going to lead, and you never want to be demoralized going into your home opener. It never works out well. I
think this is also a game the Jets defense shows a lot. And I think like the Titans are turnover prone, and this is a defense I think that will take complete advantage of that. So I like the Jets a lot in this game. I think this is, like I said, it's a team I think I'm willing to lock up. Any other thoughts on this game?
Nope.
Next, we have a rematch of a great game last year that Minnesota actually won.
Oh, yeah.
I think this was like their last win before Kirk Cousins went down with an injury.
Yeah. This is when Minnesota had, for over like the last, like over the Kirk Cousins years, they always got off to a rough start. And then like October, November, they would pick it up. And then whether they were a good team, they'd keep it on, or if they weren't a good team, they would fall away again. So that's right. I forgot about that game.
Minnesota had one of the most impressive wins of week 1 in terms of like point differential. They won 28-6 over the Giants.
They're like the third best team in DVOA, I think, right now. Yeah. The second best.
I think I was super impressed by them in terms of my expectations. They just went in, they handled their business. They dominated that game from start to finish. That being said, I just think San Francisco is too damn much. I think after week 1, I'm willing to say San Francisco is the best team in the NFL right now.
Yeah,
I don't even think I don't even think they played their best game.
No, they didn't. I mean, like they clearly, like if they had to settle for 2 kickers had 6 field goal games this week. That's crazy. The fact that they had to settle for 6 field goals.
Yep.
They're about, I'd say if they have 6 drives like that again on Sunday, 4 of them will be touchdowns.
Yeah. And I think Vegas knows it. You see a 6-point line on the road. Like I think San Francisco, it's hard to say anybody goes into Minneapolis, especially like when a team with Kevin O'Connell is playing well offensively, that they go in and win by, a touchdown or more. But I think with this San Francisco team, I'm actually willing to kind of go out on a limb for them. Like I said, I was just so damn impressed. Like that game never really felt in doubt. And I think the Jets have some talent, and it didn't feel like it, honestly, in that game. I think San Francisco wins this matchup. I think in the same manner. I'm going to go exact same score as they got against the Jets. I'm going to go 32-19 and a convincing win.
I'm going to go 35-14.
Okay, so we're both kind of in the same range.
This is a come down to earth game for the Vikings. This is we're not playing the Giants anymore. We're playing.
It's Sam Darnold.
Yeah, and Sam. Yeah, so
it's It's like, oh yeah, we have Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold revenge game.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. He was their backup last year, and he did not win his one start because I think Carson
with that team.
He lost to Carson Wentz last year.
That's true. Yeah,
for what it's worth. So there you go. Yeah. Next game, I think we're both on that. Woof. Okay. Actually,
I think Jim Harbaugh played tougher teams last year than he's playing.
I'll give you a quick analysis on this game. Chargers, Panthers in Charlotte on Sunday. I'll just give you a quick score. 24-6. Like, it's Harbaugh is going to smash this team. Like, it's going to be one of those where, like, it's going to be ugly for the Chargers because that's the way they win, and that's the way they're going to win. Yep. Like, no one's ever going to be impressed by them. But, like, you will never actually look at this game and go, oh, the Panthers could win it.
Yeah.
And I felt that way against the Raiders. Like, the Raiders, I think, had a lead in that game at one point. And I'm like, yeah, they're not winning that game. And
I think it was 7-3, like midway through the second quarter.
Dude, it was eerie how that game against the Raiders felt exactly like their game in 2011 against the Seahawks. Like, where you just kind of like, oh, yeah, they're kind of like playing a close game against kind of a crap team. And then you like look up closer and you're like, oh, yeah, they're up 27-10. Oh, they had a couple big play special teams. Like, they ran a couple. Wow, they won by 17.
Yeah. Oh, wait.
They did the same thing last week. They won, 22-10. Like, it felt the same way. Like, it's just that team, I think it's just they're going to win a bunch of games 24-10. Like, against bad teams. And I think Carolina obviously qualifies as a bad team.
I think the Chargers obviously are going to be still trying to work out their offense a little bit, but what better team to do that against? They're going to have a lot of success running the ball now. They don't have to block Derek Brown.
Yep.
I'm going to take them 27-6. I don't think the Panthers score a touchdown. I think a couple field goals.
Yeah, I won't say the Panthers score a touchdown, but I think both you and me are on the same page. The Chargers cover their 6-point line pretty easily.
Fairly easily.
This is one of the uglier games of the week, but both of them are 1-0, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Seahawks, Patriots. I think this is
of a Super Bowl from 10 years ago.
I think this is a game that
how far they feel from that.
I think this is a game where I don't know what to make of this. Like,
I don't know. I mean, the Patriots did a lot better than we thought last week, but they also the Bengals, and we'll talk about the Bengals, but they looked lifeless.
And Seattle didn't impress me all that much.
No, they just took advantage of playing a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, like Bo Nix was trying to do too much, and they knew how to play him. And the Broncos lacked and I think the Broncos were lacking a lot of other things offensively, like where Bo Nix clearly could not carry them. That being said, I don't think it's just hard to believe for me. And Jacoby Brissett is probably nursing some type of injury because he did like get hobbled at one point in week 1 against the Bengals. I'm going to take Seattle here just because I do like the quarterback more. I'm going to take a field goal. I'm not confident. I'm going to go 20-17.
I was thinking the exact, yeah. I was actually going to say like 19-16, but 2017. Wow. Yeah.
We both were like right on the money.
It's another game where you're not going to want to flip to. It's a very bad noon slate.
I will watch the last 3 minutes of this game. Absolutely.
Yeah, that could be,
Like this will be the red zone game, like where Scott Hansen like doesn't do anything with it for like.
And then, here comes Geno Smith. They're on the 35.
It's like 4:00 Eastern. I didn't even realize this was a 1:00 game. And he goes, "Oh yeah, and we're going to Foxborough now." And I go like, "Wait,
they're on?"
yeah." So I'll be interested to see is the Seahawks pass catchers against the defensive backs for the Patriots because I think Lockett and DK Metcalf are obviously really, really good players. But I also really like the defensive backfield talent that the Patriots have assembled. I think that's a fun matchup if you're going to watch this game.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think the teams are kind of even at this point, given the fact that Seattle has to go cross country and play in Foxborough. But yeah, so I think we've been on the same page pretty much every pick, right?
Yeah, we haven't disagreed on anything yet, which is not like tells you there's not really much going on right now.
These two teams are really bad. Commanders, Giants.
That's another team. If the Panthers are the worst team in football, the Giants are the second worst team in football.
Yeah. That Giants game. That's another team that I can't. I'm serious about this at this point. Like, I'm starting to think that maybe you should start Tommy DeVito. Like this, it's crazy to say because Daniel Jones does have a playoff season under his belt. Like he did lead a team,
and he was a first-round pick at a point.
First-round pick, but like I watch it, like there's nothing that makes me think that this guy's going to improve. That being said, the Commanders, I don't think did a lot of well either. I think their defense is awful.
Their defense is truly brutal.
Yeah. Tampa Bay just like basically
they scored at will.
They scored at will. They have a lot of young players in the secondary. I think Forbes is probably a bust at this point. I think we can say, but
yep.
Sanders still even looked like he looked like a rookie.
Yep.
They have so many
bad team for Mikey Sanders still to go to.
Yeah, they had a lot of issues on the back end on defense, and I was not impressed with Jaden Daniels in the passing game. Like he made some plays running the ball, but
a lot of that, and I heard a lot of Commanders fans because for whatever reason they're always on my Twitter. I heard a lot of Commanders fans talking about when they wanted Caleb Williams, when they were sure Caleb Williams was coming back in February, and what the biggest reason they thought, the two biggest reasons were he's a DC kid, and then the second one was why am I blanking again? I'm so
because y'all were going to keep Justin Fields, right?
Yeah, we were going to keep Justin Fields. Cliff Kingsbury. They're like, well, Cliff Kingsbury worked with him at USC. Okay. And then they were starting to say when they got Jaden Daniels, they were like, well, we have the better offensive coordinator, like Shane Waldron and Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury has never had an offense that has ranked in the top 10 of anything.
Yeah.
Anything. He runs the same exact offense that he ran when he was at Texas Tech.
Yep.
It's everything is short. It's all screen. There's nothing if you that's Jaden Daniels didn't throw a lot of he was good at throwing deep balls. He didn't throw a lot of deep balls. So maybe you should have developed an offense that maybe got him throwing deep more often.
I think it's telling that the number one rusher in week 1 was Jaden Daniels.
Yes.
With 88 yards. And then the number one receiver on the Commanders was Austin Eckler.
Was also Jaden Daniels.
Oh yeah, that'd be crazy. Triple crown. But no, Austin Eckler was the leading receiver, and I'm like, that goes to show you
who's playing with a walker right now.
Yeah, and there's no downfield dynamism to this offense. There's just it's kind of stagnant. That being said, God, this is like a rock in a hard place.
They should be able to, but now the Giants, do they have I didn't watch them against the Vikings, but they should have a decent pass rush with Burns and Thibodeau.
Yeah.
That might give them a chance.
I think the main difference is that the Commanders, I think Jaden Daniels can make enough plays with his legs.
I'm picking Washington 17-13.
I'm picking them 20-14, so pretty close.
Yeah,
I think they'll be able to do a little more offensively. I do believe in Jaden Daniels overall, but he did look like a rookie. Um, I think, for anybody that drafted him in fantasy football, congratulations. He's going to be a freaking stud in that. But in real football, there's some things that need to be polished out. That being said, the Giants are awful. My question is I'm willing to bet the first coach fired is Daboll. I think I'm willing to bet that.
Yeah. I think he is too. I was thinking about that on Monday morning. I think he doesn't make it to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
He might not make it to the trade deadline.
I think he's a pretty good coach.
I think he's a very good coach, but as we said when we previewed them,
he's going to be a scapegoat.
He's going to be the scapegoat. But also the thing we don't know about Daboll, and we probably won't find out until after he's fired, was he a part of the decision to give Daniel Jones that contract?
He probably did have some. They at least consulted with him. You'd think.
Yeah. And if he did, then he made his own bed. But if this was a Joe Schoen thing, and then those two were probably great friends in Buffalo, and they'll never be friends again.
No. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say they drove the Giants into the ground. They've been in the ground for nearly 10 years now, but it's. I think the moment they didn't want to draft Patrick Mahomes and keep Eli around is probably where they fell apart as a franchise. Anyway, next game, Bucks Lions. This one to me is a super interesting matchup.
Yeah. Rematch of the divisional round last year.
No one wants to talk about it, but over the last, I would say, half a season, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL has been Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. The Commanders' defense, not great, but he was near perfect in that game. He was 24 for 30 for 4 touchdowns.
He looked like he was playing Kansas again.
They look like they have a running back that is efficient on the ground and Irving, but White is still good in the pass game. I think they got players all around. I think their offensive line looks a little revamped. So I know when they kind of lost a few guys, Marpet left and I think Alex Kappa retired, right?
Mm-hmm.
They lost some guys, but I think they've been able to slowly kind of repatch that. Godwin and Evans are still making plays, and I think McMillan is good too.
Yeah.
They're great offensively, and I like them on defense because they still have Todd Bowles as their coach. And the Bucks, to me, I think make a statement in this game. I'm not saying they're going to win because I think Detroit, I think they're the best team in the NFC right now. I think Detroit wins.
You said San Francisco was earlier. The second best team.
Second best team, sorry. But they look fantastic. Is what I'm saying.
And their defense is much improved.
Yeah. I'm picking Detroit, but I think Tampa Bay makes a statement in this game by keeping it close. I'm going to go Detroit 24-21. And another
I think it'll be a little bit high score, even though I just complimented Detroit's defense. I think it's going to be something like 30-27 or something like that.
Yeah, it's going to be
it's going to be a really exciting game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one a lot. I think both teams are very good. For our sake, I'm going to be pulling for Tampa Bay though. So
yeah, absolutely. Go Bucks.
Okay, last 1:00 game of the week. Indianapolis, Green Bay. Jordan Love probably not playing in this. What do you say?
I said, what do you think?
Keep it quick here. If Malik Willis starts, I'm going to take Indianapolis 20-14. If Jordan Love starts, I still think it's going to be a close. I'll take Green Bay 20-17. Jordan Love probably not playing in this game. 99% sure he's not playing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the Colts. But I think it's I think they got it right. I think it's about a field goal game.
I'm gonna take Green Bay. It's gonna be a very I know, but like I said, I just believe in Matt LaFleur. When you were so out on Matt LaFleur last year, and Green Bay's playing at home, they're in Lambeau, they're gonna feel energized.
Malik Willis has to learn how to play quarterback. It's the problem.
Malik Willis does have to play, but you're not playing a good quarterback on the other side either.
I agree. I think this game comes down to is can Anthony Richardson give the Packers defense a break?
I think it's going to be like 17-16, and the Packers might get like a pick six.
And don't make it easy for him. Like that's one thing that used to drive me crazy about Joe Barry is making it easy for opposing quarterbacks. With Anthony Richardson, make him make a throw.
Yeah.
Make him do it. And if he doesn't, then you win the game. Well, that's what Houston did last week. Anthony Richardson made like one throw.
Yeah.
The entire game.
Crazy throw. But it was a total Anthony Richardson experience.
Yeah, like you got, whoa, what a cannon. And then the rest of the game, it's like, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
And that's what Green Bay just needs to like limit the wow and give us some gifts and then
keep him in the pocket.
And if Green Bay does,
Gary, he doesn't have to make a sack all game, but he has to contain Anthony Richardson. Make sure
Green Bay. Yeah, if Green Bay wins this game, it's because they're perfect on special teams. They don't miss any field goals, and then number 2, they don't turn the ball over. That's a lot to ask because if Malik Willis is playing, it might happen. He might throw a pick. But I think we both agree the Colts win this game, right?
No, I said 1 point went for Green Bay, but it's going to have to be because Richardson gives the game away.
So that's the first game we disagree on.
The first game we just disagree on. I'll probably pick the Packers every week. I'll find a reason why they should win. But no, I do think I think if just going back to what we were talking about earlier, if he misses 3 games, it's probably the best 3 games of the year he could miss.
Yeah.
This is when you want him to miss. You don't want him to miss any games, of course. But if it could be any games, it's going to be these ones.
Yep. This game's tough because the Rams are a team that I liked in the preseason, and the Cardinals are a team I think that played pretty well week 1.
Yeah, the Cardinals are favorites.
Yeah, I mean, barely. It could move to where it's a pick 'em.
Yeah. This is a push.
Yeah. So with that, the thing that gets me about the Rams is like the attrition they've already experienced. It's ridiculous that they are already basically like their entire offensive line is hurt.
Yeah.
Which is just freaking insane to think about. I think I'm going to pick Arizona, dude.
I think so too. You know what was very demoralizing? Well, of course, we were rooting for the Rams on Sunday night to beat the Lions.
Of course.
First of all, they had a terrible after Stafford made that great throw. Was that on 2nd or 3rd down to get a first down?
Mm-hmm.
That like another first down probably wins them the game.
Yes.
And they started throwing the ball again. They should have kept running the ball to make Detroit burn their timeouts. With Kyron Williams, they should have kept running the ball. But when Detroit got the ball back, they kicked a field goal, went to overtime. They just, and this is what I was talking about all year.
Their defense, man.
The defense got so bullied.
They're missing their presence.
They miss Aaron Donald so much. And they'll never be able to replace him.
No.
But it was so obvious that Aaron Donald wasn't there.
Yeah. The Rams, to me, like, it's weird to say, like, I like them, but I think they're going to start 0-2. And like, that's weird to say, but I think the Cardinals, they've been such an impressive team. In terms of over expectation, I should say.
Yeah.
Do I think the Cardinals are like a Super Bowl contender? Absolutely not.
Kyler fell off though in the middle of the game. I have him in 2 fantasy leagues, and like I was like in the second quarter, I was like, damn, like he's playing really well. And then
that felt like a Buffalo game though.
Yeah, it was a typical Josh Allen Bills game.
Like where it just like the Bills don't play well in the first 3 quarters and they win the game. But I think overall the Cardinals, to me, like I think they're pretty well coached. Like when I watch them, I like Gannon as a coach. I believe in him.
He's a weird guy, but Matt Eberflus is weird too. So.
I've been defending him for since he got hired because everybody made fun of him for being awkward. But I'm like, if you look at the results of it, you can't obviously look on the record of wins and losses. He's not good, but his team's performances over expectation have basically been good. And I think this is a game they can win. And the number one thing to watch in this game is they got to get Harrison involved a little bit. Like, I think, what did he have? 1, 2 targets?
Yeah, but even when he didn't have the ball, he didn't look good. I don't
Something's
know if
off.
he's carrying an injury or something like that.
Yeah. Red flag, man. 4th overall pick, and he's playing
That's
like
why you don't
crap.
pick a wide receiver in the top 10.
Is he a bust? I mean, that'd be crazy. That would be nuts if Marvin Harrison Jr. is a bust.
That would be after like him being. There was people talking about how he could be the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, and then he's like not even better than like freaking like Xavier Legette.
That's why I drafted Greg Dortch though in one of my leagues, because I knew that like Kyler was going to trust him because he trusted him a lot down the stretch last year.
Yeah.
I think the Cardinals are going to win a shootout. I think it's going to be like 38-34 or something like that.
I think also for speaking of fantasy in this game, Cooper Kupp is going to win a lot of people.
Yes.
Fantasy
You
leagues.
called that last week. You said Cooper Kupp was going to have. Now, of course, a lot of that was because Puka went out.
But here's my take though. And like some people would disagree. I think a healthy Cooper Kupp has always been the number 1. I think Puka was never going to be the 1 over a healthy Cooper Kupp. Like if you're Stafford and you have a healthy Puka and a healthy Stafford or Cooper Kupp, who are you going to?
Oh yeah, Kupp.
Like you're going to your Super Bowl MVP. Duh. Like, I mean, Puka's great. Like, don't get me wrong, but in Stafford, the one thing for fantasy is like he is a player that locks on. He always has been.
Yeah.
And if Puka's going to miss considerable time, which it looks like he is, he can't even come back until like late October, it looks like.
And I don't know, just another thing about Stafford too, the fact that his last 2 games were losses in Detroit.
It's kind of funny.
It's very ironic. But you kind of wonder if that's going to like kind of weigh on him a little bit, like he was the toe. Well, he wasn't the toast of the town because Calvin Johnson.
We should get Kelly Stafford on the show to talk about it.
We should.
Yeah, because everybody wants to hear from her. Because she always has so much to say on his behalf, it feels like. So Steelers Broncos is the next game. Let's see. Steelers ugly win. Would you say
this week?
Yeah, against the Falcons.
Yeah, probably.
It
was last week. Yeah. Oh yeah, certainly.
Ugly win again. I think this is going to be 2 straight.
We're going to talk about the other guy. There's some concerns there. I think that the other quarterback that they played against, but the defense. I mean, like everybody always talks about Pittsburgh's defense, but they overrate Pittsburgh's defense in recent years simply because of TJ Watt. I think they're more of like a middle of the pack, but they looked great on Sunday. I think they're going to win this one too. Justin Fields has now played 100% of the snaps. It'll probably be 2 weeks in a row. They just played 100% of the snaps. The Bears are getting a 4th round pick, baby. But yeah, I think it's going to be something. I don't know. It's maybe 20-13 Pittsburgh. I think the Steelers get in the end zone this week. It is tough to win in Denver in the first couple of weeks of the year. They had a streak until the Bears went in 2019. They had this is a weird stat, but it was something like the first 2 weeks of the year, they hadn't lost at home since like 1988. They went like 30 something years without losing at home in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It must be something about like the heat, but also being mile high like that early in the year. It might get some teams, but these are not the same Broncos.
Even
I think
when the Broncos were bad, like
even when they were bad, yes, they were always tough early on in the year. But yeah, I don't.
I think I think that weird thing. This game to me is one of the harder ones to predict because I think Justin Fields is bad.
Yes,
like really bad at playing quarterback.
Did you see his passing chart? somebody put a like a strike zone, and they said Justin Fields looks like a pitcher that's being sent down to AAA because he didn't attempt one pass over the middle.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty funny actually. Like the thing about Fields that always gets me is he takes sacks. Like
He's
when
so
he shouldn't.
bad at that. He
And
still does.
and to
He
me,
still
like
holds on to the ball way too long. He had the
like
highest time to throw in the league this week,
unnecessary sacks.
and his
And
ADOT was so very low too.
so I'm not a fan of Fields. And I think Bo Nix, like we talked about him. I do like him long term for the Broncos, but like obviously he's a rookie. I think this will be one of the ugliest games of the entire weekend. Who does that
And there's going to
favor?
be a lot of ugly.
I think an ugly game still favors historically Mike Tomlin Pittsburgh team.
Yeah.
It's solely based off that. I'm going Pittsburgh 16, Broncos 14. To me, what the Broncos have to figure out is they got to start running the ball like better than they have. And Sean Payton's offenses going back to New Orleans, it's like they were always better when they were able to run, like to establish the run. Drew Brees was able to get into play action, and Bo Nix like didn't have that to his disposal. Like he was just trying to force plays, and that's what led to a 2 interception performance. And they don't have the skill players to just play shootout football like they tried to do in Seattle. And the one thing that Denver does have in their advantage when it comes to this game is when a game is this probably like when it's this low scoring. I mean, look at the over under for this game, by the way. It's 36.5.
Oof.
So that's low. Like that's basically each team's supposed to score 19 points, 18 points. Yeah. So that's not good. And the way I look at this is in a game like that, all it takes is a strip sack in the right place, or if Bo Nix throws one less interception, then the game completely flips and the Broncos win. Yeah. That being said, for something that I can predict, I'm taking Pittsburgh. I think I agree with you because you're taking Pittsburgh too, right?
Yeah, 2013. So I guess we'd hit the under on mine too.
Yeah, I'm taking Pittsburgh by a field goal. Or like I guess technically I have Denver covering this, but
TJ Watt picks off.
Yeah.
Bo Nix.
That's the most valuable player in the game is TJ Watt, probably.
And he goes when he gets into the end zone like a tool that he is.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah,
we calling out the Watt family.
We're gonna get so much hate because my Kelly Stafford joke, and then you're
how we get views.
I just like when it comes to Kelly Stafford though, like what always bothers me is like Matthew Stafford like he never like does any interviews.
Have we said anything about Brittany Mahomes yet?
Well, did you see
Taylor Swift?
Who did Taylor Swift endorse? Like, let's talk about that too.
She endorsed RFK Jr.
Yeah. Oh wow, dude, that's fake news. That's fake news.
She wouldn't do that.
No, every time the Packers like lose a game with Malik Willis, I'm just gonna yell fake news and see if it works for me.
So I have the concept of a plan.
Yes, there you go.
I should have worked that in for something this week.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to tell my boss in my one-on-one tomorrow. It's like I have a concept of a call report. Yeah. It's not actually done, but the concept it's in my mind. So there you go. And he'll be like, no, next game, probably like one of the fun games in the preseason we talked about, but an underrated game, even after how ugly Cincinnati was. Bengals Chiefs. I think this is the Cincinnati screwed game. I never thought they would actually lose at home to New England.
I didn't either. We thought they'd win by double digits and it would look ugly, but they would be like, okay, whatever.
I can't see it
even happen like that.
I can't see Kansas City losing this game. Like
I
think Kansas City left opportunities against Baltimore.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be more polished. And what's crazy to me is like what people don't realize is offensively, we saw how good they were with just Rushy Rice and Xavier Worthy on the field.
Yeah, they get
When they
Hollywood Brown back
get
this week.
Hollywood Brown back, like they're I think this is the game Kelsey has like one of his vintage games. And I think the Bengals stay in this game. But I'm taking the Chiefs, and this to me feels like a Kelsey 100-yard game.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Chiefs. I'm going to say 34-24.
I'm going Chiefs 28-21. I think it's a closer game. I think the Bengals stay in it, but it's going to be one of those games where like it's in the fourth quarter and the Chiefs get like a huge first down conversion and like they're going to break, and then it's like, oh,
Did you just
Jim,
see
look
George
at him.
Kittle wearing an Iowa State helmet in that?
I did notice that. I guess he lost a bet, right?
Yeah, he must have lost a bet with somebody.
But I think it's one of those
Brock
like,
Purdy probably he lost a bet with.
yeah. But like, so he but this is one of those games where like it's the fourth quarter, the Chiefs get a huge conversion and they're going to break, and Tony Romo's going, Jim, look at him. like he's wide open. You can't let Kelsey be that open. Like, and it's gonna be that kind of game. And the Chiefs go to 2-0, and they're the best team in the NFL. Them and
I think this week, if Jamar Chase has a bad game or Joe Burrow has a bad game, I think we're gonna start seeing some frustrations coming out because
how are the Bengals gonna run the ball? Like they were poor against the Patriots, and like I think they're about to play a better
defense. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a tough game for them.
Yeah,
I think Burrow and Chase and Higgins, assuming Higgins plays, I think they'll
be staring 0-2 right down the barrel.
Yeah, I think the Bengals will stay in the game because I do think Burrow is good enough to keep him in a game, but I think the Chiefs will still be too much for him at the end of the day. I'm taking the Chiefs by a touchdown. What'd you have him at? 34-24?
34-24.
Okay. Is that all the 4 o'clock? That's it. That's all the late window games. Wow. We're almost done. Last two games. Sunday Night Football, Bears, Texans.
Ooh.
I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, Neil.
I know.
I think y'all are going to get boat raced in this one.
Yeah, I have Houston winning 27-13.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I'm gonna go 30-14. This will be the game. I think Caleb will start figuring some things out in the second half, timing wise. But I think this game is more of a statement game from the Texans
for Houston. Yeah, they want to show the national audience what they have.
Yeah, and I do have
the Bears are wearing the orange jerseys, which is usually
an abomination
for the Bears.
They got to stop wearing those. They're so ugly.
Do you know the last time the Bears won a Sunday Night Football game on the road?
2007.
Beyond that. Yeah. No, like, I mean, it's been sooner than that. But
okay, because against us was my guess.
Yeah, you remember that one.
2018?
No, it's 10 years ago this week. They beat San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
The opener at Levi's.
The first game at Levi's. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, forgot about that.
Y'all
came back in the second half.
Yes, they were down 17, just like they were the other night.
And that was kind of the beginning of the end of Jim Harbaugh in San Francisco.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Because they got out to a huge lead on the Bears, like, everybody, and then something flipped. And it was also the beginning of the end of the Mark Trestman Bears. No. I
just think the Texans are going to.
Yeah, the Texans are a much better team as it stands right now. I think there is a way that the Bears do hang around, and there is a possibility that they could sneak out a victory. What I did like from the Bears last week, that was a game like what the Titans did. The Bears did that 3 times last year. Like blow big leads late.
Yep.
That the Bears last year, they don't win that game. They don't come back. they might have gotten a little bit closer. 2 years ago in 2022, they probably lose by 30 when they were down 17. They have enough playmakers on defense. I think they're going to be able to keep themselves close while the offense is figuring things out. But it's not a team that you want to be figuring things out against this week.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. But I'd like to be proven wrong. But I have Houston 27-13.
Sorry. Thank you. One of the questions I will have about this game is more of what does Caleb Williams show us in start 2? I think the Texans just have too much star power on both sides of the ball. I think they're a better team right now. And I'm not saying that's anything against Chicago, but I'll be more curious to see how Caleb responds to a poor performance in his first outing. I think it's way too early to say anything judgmental.
No declarations can be made.
Yeah. Same goes for Bo Nix and
Jaden and
I guess Bo Nix was the only other rookie, right? That played, or Jaden Daniels, those two.
Daniels,
but those two, same thing. Caleb gets the same treatment. I just want to see a little bit of improvement week to week. But I'm taking the Texans in this game. Last game of the season, or last game of the week, excuse me.
Don't rush it yet.
Falcons versus Eagles, Monday Night Football. Interesting fact, though, for those of you that subscribe to PFF grades and value them. Who was the worst quarterback in the NFL in week 1 in terms of grade?
You said it earlier.
Yes.
Jalen Hurts.
He was. And I agree, actually. When I watched that game, I was like,
oh, he wasn't good at all.
And one of the big storylines, it didn't make the settling for 3, but touch push didn't work, number 1.
Nope.
I think they go 0 for 2, 0 for 3 on that. And then which never happens, by the way. At least it hasn't before. I think the other thing is outside of a big pass play to A.J. Brown, which to me was just A.J. Brown beating single coverage against Jair for a touchdown. Jalen Hurts was awful. I didn't see anything that made me think that they turned the page on a horrible ending to last season. To me, the Eagles are all about Saquon Barkley and A.J. Brown and how can they make explosive plays to hide how crappy their offense is. That being said, they're playing a quarterback that can't move. And
he cannot.
He can't move.
He looked very uncomfortable last Sunday.
They're managing to play an offense, in my opinion, that is at least like I can say for the Eagles. The thing they have going for them is Saquon Barkley and A.J. Brown are arguably, they are some of the best players in the NFL. They make a difference to your team. Saquon Barkley can be your offense. He's done it before. A.J. Brown can be your offense. Drake London and Kyle Pitts haven't shown that, and Kirk Cousins can't move. He doesn't.
Just when you say those names in comparison to A.J. Brown and Saquon Barkley,
it's not Bijan Robinson.
Not even close to the same thing.
Yeah, Bijan Robinson, to me, as much hype as he got coming out of Texas, he ain't Saquon. He just isn't. And as much hype as those 3 guys get, and they had good college profiles, you watch Kirk Cousins, and that's the story about this game, is you watch Kirk Cousins against the Steelers last week. He could not move. They were in the pistol 90-something% of the time. Yeah. That Achilles is an issue, and I think it is starting to point to me why they drafted Penix. Yeah. And I'm starting to wonder if they need to move to Penix sooner than later, and they didn't play him in the preseason after the first game.
Yeah. And we were thinking that there must be some reason for that.
They started Kirk Cousins here, but it's if he can't move around the pocket and move up in the pocket, he can't play quarterback. It's nothing against Kirk Cousins. He's not healthy. But they almost pigeonhole themselves into this because you can't draft Penix and then put Kirk Cousins on the PUP list, and then Penix goes out and plays well, but you're paying Kirk Cousins $100 million or whatever. You can't then go back to Cousins after drafting the guy in the first round. it's still going back to what they did in the offseason, how they kind of screwed up the whole timeline with this setup. Like, you should have
Yeah.
just drafted Penix and played him as a rookie. Like,
Yeah.
if you were going to do that, and like if you'd known, because Cousins to me was always a guy that had to go and pop. Like, he got hurt. Like, Rodgers was one thing. Rodgers got hurt week 1 with the Achilles.
Yeah.
Cousins was like, what, week 8?
Yeah. It was November.
So why are like to me it was just so obvious that he's not.
And even
fully
Rodgers had some weird tendencies to his plays, like, talking about passing charts like we have been so far.
Lack of confidence in his legs. Yeah.
Yeah. He only targeted the left. I think he had 2 passes to the right side of the field.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, an older guy going through an Achilles injury, it begs a lot of questions.
Yeah. So with that, I'm not impressed by either team and either quarterback in this situation. But I think Philly showed more to me. And Philly did have a good win, I think, against a quality team. With a healthy Jordan Love, because Love didn't get hurt until the very end of the game. I'm taking Philly, and I'm going to take them in a very ugly win. I'm going to say 20-13. Philly wins this game, and I think this could be one of those games like last year where AJ Brown is visibly frustrated.
Yeah. I think it's going to be 24-17, and I think Barkley scores maybe all 3 touchdowns.
And if I'll say this about Philly, they better hope Saquon Barkley stays healthy.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't, he's their best player.
By far.
I think
good for Saquon that he's finally on a team that's
showcasing
good.
his talent.
Like,
he's so good. Like
he should play in a playoff. I know he played in the playoffs 2 years ago, but he should play on a team that
can win.
Yeah.
We think. I mean, but if Jalen Hurts keeps playing the way he does,
who knows now, actually.
But the thing that gets me about the way I look at Philly is, to me, what I worry about is they are mirroring they mirror the exact team we saw last year.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a team that they're going to. I could see them starting off 3-0, and then all the Philly fans will say, you shouldn't have doubted us. Yeah, and then by December, like, the team is dysfunctional.
Mm-hmm.
Because to me, I think it's ultimately a problem with Hurts, and I think one of the big red flags is that the tush push isn't working the way it did. Like, at least in the first game, 0-3, that was a big story to me, because like that used to be a little cheat code that they had, and it didn't work. And I have big concerns. I was not impressed with Philly.
No,
I think they were lucky to win that game. I think Green Bay just gave them.
Green Bay gave it away. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Green Bay had so many chances.
DVOA of any team that won.
Yeah, Green Bay had so many chances to take that game, and they just didn't take it because of stupid turnover. And the really, it was Musgrave's fault on the interception, but Love threw it into double coverage, and then you had, in the first half, Eagles gave away, I think, 2 turnovers, and the Packers scored 6 points off of it. You got to have more than that. Just a lot of opportunities the Packers missed in that game, but I think
they did have the worst DVOA. They're 21st in DVOA despite being 1-0.
Yeah, so I was not super impressed by the Eagles, but I'm really not impressed by the Falcons. And what to me is super interesting is I'm starting to think that, in my opinion, like, it's not close. Tampa Bay is the best team in the NFC South.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I was watching Tampa Bay on Sunday. That
everyone wanted to crown the Falcons, but it's like it's the Bucs again, and they
as it stands right now until something changes.
Yeah, they won what they won 3 straight, and I think they might be on their way to 4. It's crazy. And but any closing thoughts on this matchup?
No, do you know the only thing I just wanted to say? I thought this week was supposed to be, wasn't it? They been doing like the week 2 doubleheader on Monday Night Football?
They have in the past, but not this year, I don't think.
I thought there was the double. Maybe it's next week or something.
It could be. Yeah, it could. I'll take a look at it. But that was all for this week. So, any closing thoughts on week 2?
No, I just keep needing it now. It's just, got any more football?
You got some tomorrow. So Tomorrow
do.
we got, or if those of you that are listening on Thursday, tonight we have the Bills and the Dolphins on Thursday night. So it should be a fun week too. We will catch y'all next Wednesday for a week 2 recap, week 3 preview. So looking forward to seeing y'all then.